Another episode of the Goliath and Leviathan Show.
I'm Goliath.
And I am Leviathan. On this episode, we're going to be talking about North Korea, the threat it poses, what's going on with the world, you
More
know.
missile tests that they're doing, and we'll get all into that.
Yep, and how Trump is dealing with it and what our thoughts and take on it are.
So just last week, North Korea did another missile launch test, and
It's December of 2017 right now, but
yeah, and I mean, Trump said he made the broad statement a few months ago that if they do another missile test, he's gonna fight back, and they're gonna meet firepower that they've never seen before, nobody's ever seen before. I mean, in my opinion, there's no negotiating with North Korea.
mm-hmm.
I don't want war. Nobody wants war, and
Nobody
I'm
wants
not
war.
saying that we even should go to war with them. I just think that we should destroy North Korea in whatever way is possible. And if that necessarily, yeah, nuclear war, okay, but I think if we nuke them, I don't know if they have the means to do what people say that they have to do.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm going to be a little differentiating on this topic myself, Goliath. I don't think. I mean, I agree that there's possibly not much of negotiating with them because you can't really negotiate with a madman, trying to try and get on their level. But if you look at the policies that have been passed for a long, long time, it's like it's been allowing this beast to grow. Like if you look at the failed policies, I mean, North Korea in itself. I mean, when there was the Korean War, and that was back in 1950 to 53, right? And it created a whole demilitarized zone and split the country of North and South in
Yeah.
itself. The communist North and the capitalistic South, right? The free and open society in the South, and
So what do you think that Trump should do? How do you think he should handle this? Because obviously it's gonna be the same like it was when Obama was president, when Bush was president, when Reagan was president, when the other Bush. Because they're gonna keep on doing what they're
they're
doing.
trying to kick the can down the road. And I mean, if you look at it, like Obama really played it into like, okay, yeah, you can have the presidency, Trump, but good luck, because Obama knew about the stuff going on with North Korea and their missile capabilities even back in the mid to late 2000s, and the Clintons knew about this stuff. And all the backdoor deals being made today that are known, but there was all kinds of backdoor deals being made back in the 90s, during Bill Clinton's
Of
presidency.
course.
And and the thing about people are all talking about, oh, the missiles of North Korea, the nuclear capability. My concern so much isn't necessarily the nuclear capabilities that they have, whether they can hit Hawaii and parts of California, or they can arc as far as their trajectory rates can hit Chicago. They're all over where they could possibly hit. My concern as Leviathan is that they actually have launched two satellites, or a couple satellites in the past few years, and basically they could have put on some sort of device with EMP technology. And these satellites, they go over the atmosphere of obviously the globe, right? It's a satellite, it orbits, it's an old orbit, right? And they could potentially detonate those over a major city, and it would wipe out the power grid. And that could cause all kinds of problems. And obviously, again, it's, there's really a lot of talk going on in the hot air for both sides.
Right.
But I mean, this problem isn't just something that has been relatively new. It's been ramping up, and I mean, there's all kinds of people with fear mongering saying, "Oh, there's going to be war. There's going to be war," and I'm not saying that it's inevitable. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but you also have to look at it with a critical eye and say, I mean, for the most part, the best case scenario that could potentially happen is North Korea just stays its own independent country. It is its own independent country now, but without the threat of total annihilation. I mean, they keep threatening everybody else, but I'm sorry, I've been talking a
No,
while.
no, it's fine. It's just it's like you said that they do have capabilities. I'm not saying that they have no
Yeah, they
capabilities,
can do
but
stuff. I mean,
they right there because they obviously they've been feared for a while by the presidents like Obama that didn't want to
hmm
try to like knock over the cradle while it was rocking. He
yeah,
just let them do what they want, which is obviously stupid because
hmm
they've got more powerful. But Trump said he will fight fire with fire. He will, if Rocket Man is what he calls
yeah.
was what he calls Kim Jung Un, you know, keeps it up, he's gonna retaliate, and he hasn't retaliated yet, and I understand why. But it comes to the point where it's like, what plan do you have to act on North Korea? Does Trump take out the missile test area in North Korea? But then that could lead to North Korea then retaliating with
Retaliating.
something else. So it's like, but that's something that he should do. I mean, look at what happened in Syria with the he retaliated with Assad over there with his people and
I mean, I don't really. I mean, me personally, again, there's even differences between Goliath and myself.
right, and that's
Leviathan, we
fine.
agree, we disagree. I mean, we agree with a lot of things, but a thing with the whole thing with Assad, right? Assad himself with Syria, their government, is actually allied with Russia, okay, and with Putin, okay. So obviously, and then on top of that, you have members of China. The Chinese government are also infused in a sort of an alliance, if you will, with Russia and Syria. So those are a triple power threat that are unified to defend each other if somebody drops nukes on them. That's just, it's kind of like a precursor to another world war in a way. If there's already alliances shifting and changing, but there's a big three power structure on the block. Obviously, Russia is a world global superpower. China is a global superpower, and you have the thing with Syria, right? It's a whole nutshell in itself with Syria, but it is defended by Russia. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that whole Assad thing, like whether Trump should have even did that because, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, Assad is with
Russia.
Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't have done that to his people supposedly because
Yeah.
it was
There were terrorist
there was terrorist
organizations
organizations
with
that were
attacking
right,
people, and I
right,
mean,
not Assad. It was terrorist
right.
organizations supposedly, but whatever. That I don't know. You don't know, but I do agree with you on that aspect of
Mm-hmm.
that. But I'm just saying Trump has to do something now.
Yeah.
I feel like he has to do something because what happens if we do nothing and then one day North Korea just bombs us or does something to us, and then we're going to be saying he should have done something. He should have
Mm-hmm.
done something. There's guy. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying that I have a plan in my head that should happen. I'm just saying he's been in office for a year now. I want to see, he's been talking a lot, like you said, a lot of hot air has been going.
Yeah.
I want to see, what's going to be done. And obviously, I don't want a war. Nobody wants a war. We're already in one right now.
Multiple wars around the
Right.
globe. I mean, there's stuff even revving up. Actually, what a lot of people don't realize. I mean, in Venezuela right now, this actually just came out relatively recent too. Is Venezuela obviously with their currency collapsing and how their countries are collapsing, a socialist country, they're actually turning to cryptocurrencies to combat the U.S. dollar. They're calling it they're calling their cryptocurrency the Petro, believe it or not. And again, it's my thing on with all the global stuff going on, not just North Korea or with Russia, with Syria and stuff. You look at it with Venezuela now, there's all these resources in Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there would be more of an inclination for the military industrial complex to get infused within conflicts in Central America again. Um, to go more into the fact with the military industrial complex, they really try to rev up a reason, obviously not just for resources or just for oil or for establishing a centralized bank, right, which they do all over the world. It's for, okay, for with the stuff with North Korea, a part of me thinks that there's certain people around Trump that are kind of wanting to push for a narrative to say, okay, let North Korea make the first strike on us. Just let them attack us, or to do something within our own country to like a red flag to enable the rile up the sympathy for going to war, and with any sort of narrative with any military industrial complex, it's a continuation of dragging eating its own tail, where the it has to feed on to suffering and death and perpetual need for war. And there's elements within North Korea that desperately too want to have war because it's what they've been indoctrinated since childhood for so many of their people, that they want a war with the U.S. And
Yeah, he doesn't care if his people die. You
yeah,
know, like the Kim Jung Un doesn't care about war because he's going to be protected. He feels like he's got enough military power, or
his own Führer bunker.
yeah, he's got enough guys on the ground that he doesn't care for their
They're
lives.
pawns.
Yeah,
People are pawns, and I mean, as you said, yes, something should be done, and my best of hope would be, well, I mean, if you could look at like during the Cold War with like the whole Cuban Missile Crisis, there was a similar situation with President John F. Kennedy, right, dealing with the element of the Kremlin, right, where the United States was issuing nuclear warheads on the border in Poland and in parts of Germany, aimed at Russia. So the Russians retaliated, saying, "Well, you guys have missiles on our door. We'll go to your door." So they went to Cuba, right, to
mm-hmm.
Havana, and they started putting nuclear missiles, trying to get them into Cuba to aim, and they were there, aimed at the whole east coast of the United States. And basically, that could have initiated a nuclear war back in the 60s. Um, and basically, how that whole situation was diffused was it was kind of like the demarcation line, saying that we're going to blockade Cuba, and yeah, any sign of any ship entering the Cuban ports is going to be automatically issued as a state of war. Basically, the whole Cuban Missile
Yeah.
Crisis, and that would be retaliated as an act of aggression, and the U.S. would go through every means to fight back. And Russia realized that was not a veiled threat. They realized that that could have meant war then. So Trump could potentially do something, not necessarily make a threat of that nature, but try to leave at least one line of communication open for something to make a statement, right? Not just hot air, but to say we can still try to negotiate with one thing of let's not have total war. Maybe we can still try to hammer out some sort of a compromise.
The whole thing too is that I fear is that even if you make a negotiation with them and they
Mm-hmm.
somehow accept it, you know, are they going to be? We don't have their word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
Because
never
you
really have
can't
no word.
trust their word. You
Mm-hmm.
know what they're going to say or do. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we none of us want war. So I mean, if that's going to be the best case, is to somehow make peace and keep things the way they are, where they don't get closer to war or anything, then it's a win.
Yeah, I mean, and you think of, okay, if war were to break out, I mean, then that's really bad because you can also look at it as like, well, who else has North Korea's back? And in opinion, I think China, in a way, has been backing North Korea. I mean, they're playing North Korea against the U.S. and the U.S. against North Korea for the betterment of China. And China is supposedly a U.S. ally, which it's a shady deal. There's shady deals all the time. But yeah, there's definitely, you got to look at, okay, what else can Trump do? And yeah, try to negotiate maybe more with obviously within the Philippines and with Australia, or maybe even India. India's got some military capabilities and stuff, and try to win over because that's in their sphere of the world too. And even look at Vietnam. He was actually over in the whole Asian tour not that long ago,
Yeah, he
President
just
Trump,
was there.
and he actually went to Vietnam, and they had this whole big thing of trying to form alliances and negotiations of, you know, the Vietnam War back in the 60s into the 70s, and, the past aggressions and stuff kind of were in the past, and trying to move forward for a betterment of the future. So if Trump can really keep on that sort of a line of thinking, I think that he can continue to isolate North Korea and cut off any avenues of, which he has done.
Yeah.
He has done in a way, but it will make their threat less intimidating because they would be willing to go to war primarily against the U.S. when the U.S. still has a lot of allies in the region that would
Right.
also back up the U.S.
Yeah, and since Trump's been president too, he made it illegal to even fly to North Korea because like so now
Mm-hmm.
if you're an American you can't go in that country because what happened with Otto Warmbier, but you saw Obama didn't try to even bring him home. Trump did, but they beat him to death pretty much there and sent him back.
Yeah.
And then Trump just named them a state sponsor of terrorism, North Korea too. So
Mm-hmm.
he's taking some actions to try to you know at least name them
Take the
things.
venom out of
Yeah,
the viper in
right.
a way, and you try to defang the snake. But obviously it's very venomous. I mean, another element, not necessarily just the nuclear capabilities that they have, the missiles or the satellites with EMP technology that they've launched already. Another concern is you can look at there's also agitators and sympathizers of North Korea living in the West, living in the United States of America. And they could do all kinds of saboteur like uh, elements within the United States borders that a lot of people wouldn't realize until it's already too late.
Yeah,
Whether they could unleash sort of pathogens into the water supply, or they could actually attack certain infrastructures of things. There's all kinds of obviously the online hacking element with just there's all kinds of things that behind the scenes Cold War esque spy versus spy type of stuff, and then the out in the front open type of brunt attacks. So there's things going on, things to be aware of, and yeah, at least Trump's willing to try and he's taking a stand and trying to look through avenues for
yeah.
things. So there are things being done.
So guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode. I think we're gonna be wrapping up now, and we'll like, subscribe, comment, and
Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side, everybody. Peace out.